2019, the Daihonzan Narita-san Shinjoji Temple at its transition from the Heisei Tarewa era. Well known as the Kanto Three Great Akalis, the temple is bustling with visitors from around the world as well as Japan. Nabedana began brewing sake at the gate of Shinjoji Temple over 330 years ago in the second year of the Genroku era. We established a brewing facility upon obtaining a brewing license from the Sakura domain of the Edo shogunate. This is the Nabedana's Narita brewing facility between 1945 and 1954. However, due to the rice shortage during the Second World War and the small scale of the Narita brewing facility, we moved production to the Kozaki Brewery, which was established during the Meiji era. This is the Kozaki Brewing Facility, where we now brew our leading products, Jinyu and Fudo. Nabedana's sake appeals to customers with its robust flavor created using high-quality rice as well as the clean water of the Tone River water system. Now, let's look at how the signature taste is created. In 1989, to make it easier to reflect our policy as a sake brewery that continues to strive for better quality, we changed our sake brewing process such that it is no longer handled by a chief sake maker and other sake brewing specialists, but instead by our employees, beginning with the preparation process for that year. Rice used for brewing. Rice bran and germ create undesirable flavors in sake. Fat and protein in rice are removed as much as possible. We carefully draw out the umami of alcohol in sake, using only the starch contained in the center of rice grains. Certain varieties of rice suitable for sake brewing are called sake brewing rice. At Nabedana, we use carefully selected large grain varieties such as Akita's Sake Komachi and Miyama Nishiki, Yamagata's Dewa Sanzan, Okayama's Omachi, Hyogo's Yamada Nishiki, Hokkaido's Suisei, and Chiba's Fusa Nomai and Fusa Kogane. In sake brewing, the rice polishing ratio is normally 70%. In other words, 30% of the grain is removed. The rice polishing ratio for Nabedana's Daiginjo, made with the highest quality Yamada Nishiki, is 35%, which means 65% of the grain is removed. Once the rice polishing is done, and the polished white rice is carried in, we carefully check its water content and make sure that there are no cracks in the grains. After checking, we wash the white rice with a rice washer and by hand. Here we wash away the bran and other unwanted substances from the rice. This process is also referred to as the second rice polishing. Next, we soak the washed rice grains in water, causing them to absorb water. After the soaking process, we move on to the rice steaming process. At Nabedana, We use a high-performance consecutive rice steaming system to apply powerful steam to the white rice. To steam the white rice used in the highest grade products such as daiginjo, we still use a traditional Japanese cauldron with a steaming vat. Ideal steamed rice is hard on the outside and soft on the inside. For the subsequent sake brewing process to be smooth, effective steaming is essential. Hot steamed rice is spread out to let it cool down to an appropriate temperature. Once the rice reaches the right temperature, we spread it out in the koji room. Once the temperature stabilizes, yellow koji mold called moyashi is sprinkled evenly over the rice. Spreading koji evenly will help it grow evenly, creating heavily malted rice. Koji decomposes rice starch and turns it into glucose. This 2-day process creates koji with a powerful enzyme. After the malted rice making, we move on to the yeast starter preparation process. The role of the yeast starter is to create a pure culture of a large amount of yeast necessary for fermentation in order to ensure stable fermentation of Moromi. The next step is preparation of moromi, or fermentation mash. With the yeast starter as the main ingredient, moromi preparation is performed in 3 stages. The first stage of moromi preparation. With the yeast starter as the base for moromi, we add twice as much malted rice, water, and steamed rice. To ensure the growth of yeast and create more pure yeast, we take a rest from preparation on the following day. This is called odori. The second stage happens on the day after odori. Here we add twice as much water, malted rice, and steamed rice as the first stage and stir the mixture well. The third stage takes place the next day. We add 1.6 times as much water, malted rice, and steamed rice as the second stage. This completes the 4-day preparation process. The preparation process as a whole is called multi-stage preparation, as it is divided into a series of stages. In about 4 weeks from the end of the preparation process, the fermentation of moromi is nearly complete. It is now time for the pressing process. Here we put mature Moromi in a pressing machine and separate it into sake and sake dregs. In about 8 hours, the freshly pressed undiluted sake comes out. At Nabedana, we also frequently use a pressing method that incorporates the hanging of Moromi. When hung in sake bags, the sake becomes more fragrant and has a more delicate taste. This is the fresh new sake. We take great care in bottling and finishing our products before delivering them to our customers. Sake brewing involves a series of sensitive tasks that require seamless teamwork. To create good sake, each one of us must thoroughly execute our respective tasks. Nabedana's sake people and spirit are supported by our manufacturing staff's tireless efforts to improve sake quality. Ever since the Genroku era, Nabedana has been gaining many fans as a handcrafted sake brewery, and we are now number 1 or number 2 in terms of the number of people in Chiba Prefecture who prefer our sake. While cherishing the beauty of handcrafted sake, and as one of the leading sake breweries in Chiba, we will continue to strive for better quality, dedicate ourselves to sake brewing, and work toward the creation of sake culture. Sake, people, spirit. These are the core elements of Nabedana's sake brewing.